people just out of college, my nieces and nephews who are now sort of moving out of college, I find that they're really nervous. And they have lots of ways of hiding, as I think I mentioned earlier, of hiding things in those boxes, of trying to keep it quiet that they don't know what the heck they're doing, right? And so that's a really important thing that a lot of young adults are doing, which calls us to a greater amount of self-knowledge. So I'm going to talk a little bit about your favorite philosopher and mine, Aristotle, because you were thinking when you woke up this morning, I'm sure, you know what, I just don't talk about Aristotle enough in my life. Sometimes you think, you know, since college, I've really been missing thinking about Aristotle. Weren't you? Or was that yesterday? Maybe it was this morning, but it might have been today. Aristotle says a lot about self-knowledge and how important it is. And I think it's really important in navigating the kinds of problems that Danny and I were speculating about, right? And Aristotle has this great way of thinking about the mean, right? Remember it? Oh, it's all coming back to you now, right? Oh, from perspectives or Paul's or philosophy of the person. Oh, the mean, right? It's like, it's somewhere in between an excess and a deficiency. Oh, yes, right. And you're thinking, yes, I don't think I read that book. I was supposed to, right? But I wrote a paper on it anyway. So what Aristotle says, I'm going to draw a diagram about Aristotle. I'm not going to draw Aristotle, but I'm going to help us out here a little bit. He says that a mean is somewhere, right, in between an excess and a deficiency. Now, I was thinking about this in terms of dating and relationships, and I was thinking, what's the excess and deficiency of adult dating and relationships, right? Especially in your 20s. And I got it. Here it is. Because you know, when I give that dating talk, if you ever heard the dating talk, Alex, hi, I give stories about you all the time in the dating talk. It's crazy. And I name you. I just name you. It's crazy. I usually say, it happened to this guy, Alex. I'll call him Alex because that was his name. It's terrible. Wow. So I was thinking about the excess and the deficiency, and I thought, the excess, in terms of dating and relationships, you know who these people are. These are the desperate seekers. These are the people who are desperate to get married. They go to weddings like they're on a mission, right? Whose table am I at? Who'd you put me with? Right? Because they really want to meet your cousin's best friend and possibly find their soulmate on the dance floor, right? Usually it ends up you just make out with the person for a while and woo, lo and behold, you just hooked up again. Good for you. Now you're 26 doing that same thing you did in college, right? But you can smell the desperation from some people, right? You can smell it on them. They desperately want to just get this whole thing behind them, right? You can see this if you've, I expect we're going to get this during the Q&A. Questions about internet dating. You can see it in some of their profiles, right? I really want to get married is usually masked as something else, right? It's the I read serious books, don't you? Right? So the excess can be that desperation, right? The deficiency is the same opting out that you might have done in college. It's the getting busy without getting busy thing, if you know what I mean. It's the I'm throwing myself at my career because I was the president of UGBC and now I'm out there and I need to be hugely successful to prove that it was all not just a bluff. No, it's not. But you throw yourself at your grad program, or you throw yourself into your doctoral work. Nah, he's not really. Or you throw yourself into your career or your campus ministering to people, and you decide that right now, I just can't deal with all that. And a lot of that has to do, Aristotle says, a lot of our inability to find the mean. Where is it? It's not exactly in the middle, Aristotle says. The mean of approaching dating and relationships in your 20s is not exactly in the middle. It's not in the exact middle between being the desperate marriage seeker or the crazy hunkering down and working 17 hours a day and not facing your social life. It's somewhere in there, and it has a lot to do, Aristotle says, with knowing yourself well. What do you need to know about yourself for this? Well, Aristotle always says, what you usually need to know is what are your fears and your desires? And I don't mean your desires, but your desires. I mean, you need to know those too, but your deepest desires. What are your scariest fears and what are your deepest desires, your deepest longings? And Aristotle says, if you know what those are, that's the first good place to start. What is it that drives you to either toward excess or deficiency? And of course, I gave examples of an excess or a deficiency, but Aristotle says it's particular to each one of us, right? So maybe you're not a crazy seeking marriage, but maybe you're a Klingon, right? Maybe when you date, you get too intimate too fast. You get too needy too fast. You want it to work really quickly. By the second date, you're already being really familiar with the person. What's your mother's favorite color, right? When I go to your house, how can I impress your dad, right? You're too eager. You're too far ahead of yourself. Maybe that's your excess. But Aristotle says, you need to know what is in the boxes you brought with you from your past. Maybe from college. Maybe it's from way before that. Maybe it's baggage that you're carrying from your own family life. Maybe from your own parents' marriage and relationship. You need to know what's in that baggage that you haven't unpacked or you haven't let go of that's maybe sending you in one direction or the other.